Welcome to Making a Difference. My name is Todd Morgan. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Rothstein. I think it's going to be an interesting interview because she's done so much in the community. My first question, Roz, is about what experience or experiences in your life have led to you to be so involved in the Jewish and Israeli community?
First and foremost, I'm the daughter of Holocaust survivors, which, resonates a certain kind of way and motivates me in many ways to pay attention to what's going on with the Jewish people at large. My mother particularly was the wind beneath my wings in many ways. And I lost 80 relatives in the Holocaust, so I grew up without relatives. So I'm very sensitive to the dangers that we are looking at in some ways today for the Jewish people. Secondly, I grew up in a Zionist organization called B'nai Akiva. And as a young child, I was very connected to the State of Israel. So I care a lot about the State of Israel. In addition, when I was a child, the State of Israel was such a gem, people held it up so high. It was just, there was no criticism. It was just, oh my goodness, the Jewish people finally have a state of their own. And my mother told the story of when she was in the DP camp for 5 years because they had no place to go.
Where was that located?
Hers was in Italy, thankfully. Thankfully. The DP camp in Italy was nothing like the one in Germany or Poland. But
meaning what?
The conditions were very harsh in Germany and Poland in the DP camp. In Italy, she said it was one of the best times of her life. So.
And was she with your father at that time?
She met my father in the DP camp. So, anyways, she found out that the State of Israel was born, as with the other Holocaust survivors in the DP camp, and they all danced and danced and danced all night. And as they danced, she told me they knew they were dancing for those who could no longer dance. So Israel is very special in my family, and that is why we started an organization to clarify what Israel really is about, with its blemishes. Who cares? The State of Israel exists, and it's doing so much for the Jewish people, and it is, giving incredible gifts to faraway third world countries, and so many gifts in medicine and technology. And so it's very exciting. Yet, at the same time, we see this promotion of lies and misinformation about the State of Israel by those who would like to really destroy Israel's image. So we have an organization that we began, my husband and I and Esther Renzer, who is our president, 12 and a half years ago. We began this organization for the purpose of making sure that people get the right story about Israel: size, strategic threat, history, connection of the Jewish people. And we are dedicated to educating people of all ages about the State of Israel. And it's called StandWithUs. And we now, I wouldn't have believed it if you asked me 12 years ago, where are you taking this organization? I wouldn't have believed that by this time we would have 18 offices around the world, and we would have over 70 people working for us, and we would be touching young students on college campuses across the globe, and we would be networking them so they could work together and be able to tell Israel's story in a much better, more articulate, richer way, because they have to be informed, they have to be educated.
So if I walked into one of your offices, what do I see? What do I learn? What happens? What's it like?
You come into my office at the Federation, which now we're nearly taking up the whole 5th floor, and you will see a team of graphic designers who take information from our research team and move it to graphics and make sure that people can read it and that it resonates well, goes straight to the brain. You will see a college team, a group of young people that work with young students around the world. You would see a high school team, the team that works with high school students around the country.
So let's stop right there. So
yes.
What do they do when they work with them? What happens?
Okay, so young people who care about Israel are not necessarily able to articulate much of anything about Israel. If you challenge them with a question, they don't necessarily have proper answers. They don't know what to say. You know, why is do the Israelis humiliate the Palestinians at the checkpoints, for example? And the kids, you know, say, checkpoints, I don't even know, you know, I don't know where to begin with this answer. And so we have to really tell them Israel's story. Why are there checkpoints to begin with? What, you know, what is Israel's security about? Why would there have to be a checkpoint or a fence or any of this to begin with? Why do we have checkpoints at our airports? So, you know, we talk to the kids about this so that they can say, aha, now I understand, now I can have a conversation. I can tell my parents, I can tell my friends, I can tell my college community why there are checkpoints and why we have to be patient and why, okay, yes, of course, it's no fun to stand at a checkpoint. It's no fun. We don't like it when we go to the airport. You got to take your shoes off. But, you know, and sometimes it takes 2 hours to get through security. But that's what it's about. It's about security. So that's one example of how we would work with students to be able to make them better able to handle a simple conversation. And they're happy because...
So is it mostly students you talk to, or is it cross-section?
We work with people of all ages, but we
Majority
probably,
is students,
yeah,
high school, college students.
60 or 70% of our work is with...
to educate these people about what's going on in Israel.
Yes.
Educate Americans, primarily.
Yeah, well, Americans, no, we have an office in the UK, we have an office in Paris. We work with Israelis on college campuses in Israel to help them better be able to talk about Israel and you know, in diplomacy, etc. And come on tour to America and speak to people of all ages about what is really going on and their dilemmas that they have faced as soldiers.
Well, this is a full-time job for you.
This is more than full-time. I used to be a family therapist. I was a family therapist for 20 years. But then they started the Intifada and targeting groups of Jews on buses and groups of Jews at Sbarro Pizza and groups of Jews at Mike's Place. And it was hard to think of anyone targeting groups of Jews and not think of my own background, which was targeting of groups of Jews. So it resonated.
Thank you for making a difference. Thank you for making a difference. So reading a little bit about you, both at the Forward and the Jerusalem Post named you as one of the top 50 most influential Jews in the world. Now, I get an idea why you got that recognition, but tell me more why they picked you.
I believe that Stand With Us is making a huge difference in the debate about Israel. I believe that that is the recognition, that this organization, which grew like a phoenix and with support from all over the world, financial support, we're now a $7 million organization doing so much work, like the work of 5, 10 organizations.
Where do you get your money?
Foundation support and individuals.
Jewish Federation?
To some degree in the past. We need to work harder with those grant proposals. You know, sometimes the grant proposals themselves are so labor intensive. We work so hard pushing out program and moving speakers around and, you know, flights and materials. I brought you some materials we could share with your viewers, but, you know, it's hard sometimes to sit down and do these labor-intensive forms, but we have received foundation support. The Jewish Community Foundation has supported many of our programs with large gifts, multi-year gifts.
That's great.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to get involved or make a contribution to this great organization, how would they do it?
Well, I'll tell you something interesting for your viewers. Watching this show, if you're interested interested in receiving even just this little booklet. We produce a lot of booklets on different topics and in different languages. This is one of the things we do. If you say you watch the Todd Morgan show and that you would like this, we will send it to you at no cost. So, so that you can be more educated and inform your friends, your children, your grandchildren. But in order to contact us, on the back, or go to StandWithUs.com, and there's a donate button right at the right-hand corner, or there's more information about how to reach us.
If they wanted to call you and they don't have a computer, who would they call? What number would they call?
Call me, 310-836-6140, hit 0, and ask for Roz Rothstein.
That's terrific. That's terrific. So I've got another question related to this great work. I'm very impressed what you built. You know, some people come here and they work part-time and they've done some great things. You built a real organization that has significant impact on the Jewish community. You should be very proud. I'm sure you are.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
This is tremendous. So, what would you tell young people in our audience, or their parents in our audience, about the gratification of giving? Why are you so committed?
First, I'm committed because I fear that there are people who have ill will towards the state of Israel and the Jewish people. And I think we always have to keep that in mind. In the world, there unfortunately are always pockets of people that have ill will. So we have to keep our antennas up, and we have to be vigilant and see what we can do to make a difference, to build bridges, and to get the story straight. I believe that sincerely, and I think that more people should look into that issue and be more concerned about that. But, you know, we are obligated even by Jewish tradition to be involved, to touch philanthropy as much as we can. What we give, we get back. We grow things. It's like watering a flower. The flower's not going to grow on its own. It needs help. It needs nurturing. And so you and I are in a position to nurture, to grow. And that is why it is imperative that parents teach their children that it's important to be giving, not just, and they show it, they role model that, and they teach their children and say those words. We must not take this for granted. If you believe in this cause or that cause or whatever it is that's important to you, it's critical that all of us, you know, make these points to our young people. And I know this is part of why you must have this show. You want to make the point that giving is critical to grow things around the world. They don't go by themselves. We can't run Stand With Us without people holding us up and being partners with us and investing in our work. I would have, you know, maybe one office, and we wouldn't be doing the work we're doing now if we didn't have people who said, you know what, that's incredible. Let me be your partner and help you grow.
Wonderful. Thank you for all the great work you do. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure.
And thank you, JLTV,
yeah,
for all the good work you do.
And thank you for making a difference.